A lot has been said here about becoming the person that God designed you to be, the person that you are capable of being. And I think that in order to do that, we have to ask, well, what is that process? What is that process that allows that to happen? And actually, that process is simply, it is accepting the challenge of overcoming fear, which stops us in our tracks and causes us not to go forward. And I would like to take just a moment, because in the last few years, in fact, the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been redesigning my own life. Okay, and I will, to expand on that just a little bit. Einstein said that one of the greatest discoveries that man has made is that you can, by changing your mind, you can change your life. Just change your mind. And doing that is not the easiest thing, but if you believe that, the Bible, I think, said it before Einstein. It said, "As a man thinketh, so is he." It's been said down through time that our mind, everything starts in our mind, and then we go from there. And by the way, fear also starts in our mind and ends there. Fear cripples us. It paralyzes us. And if we don't overcome it, then all the plans we make, all the goals we have, all the things we want to do, they don't happen. And as I mentioned, in redesigning my own life, if you reach certain accomplishments and things that you set out as goals, you have to redo them. And certainly with Kendra becoming the CEO of NeoLife, then I had to, settle down here and said, okay, what am I going to do? And how am I going to fit in? Because I want to be motivated to continue my life as long as God lets me be here. And so I had to think again, what am I going to do next? What do I want to do? What can I do? And I would encourage you to start having those same thoughts about your own life and design it out, because the truth is that by changing your mind about what you want to do, you change your life if you follow through with it. Now, as far as every time that you change something and challenge yourself to do something that you don't know how to do or you don't know how to do well, then with that comes discomfort, right? We're not comfortable doing something that is not familiar, that we don't know how to do. And actually, if you think about it, everything that you know how to do today, whether it's drive a car, swim, ski, ride a bicycle, it started out being uncomfortable. Uncomfortable, and the thing that causes you to accomplish your goal, learn to ride the bicycle, is be willing to do the thing you're afraid to do, because you want to learn to ride the bicycle more than you fear the fall, okay? And with that simple process, then you overcome it, because a few times that you fall, I remember falling. I remember all my kids falling. I remember the scraped knees, all of the things that go with it. I remember the same process when it came to teaching Kendra how to surf. I mean, you know, I taught her to surf when she was like 5 years old. She's always surfed waves bigger than she was, okay, over her head, because at 5 years old, all the waves were bigger than her. And then, you know what? She's a great surfer today, and absolutely can surf in places where I don't even want to go anymore, okay? And I think, Josh, you've surfed with Kendra enough to know that you don't want to exactly follow her everywhere she surfs. You know, one of my friends in Hawaii, a contractor, 40-year-old guy, Kendra was about 15, and he said, she asked me to go surfing. I said, no, I don't want to go tomorrow. And so he overheard the conversation, and he said, I'll take her surfing. I'll watch her. Don't worry. And so they went out, and he got out to the first break where the waves were okay, but not really big. And he said, Kendra, let's surf here. And she says, no, we're going on out. And he says, no, I don't go out there. And he said, then she swam off, and he came back and reported. He was sorry that he didn't really get to watch her, because he said, as she swam away from me, she called me a wuss, okay? And and then she spent an hour and a half or so out in the big waves where he was afraid to go. And he said, thank God she came back, you know. But do the things you're afraid to do, okay? Now, I used to think that it was good to be comfortable. You know, everybody wants to be comfortable. I would like to be comfortable. The problem with comfortable is that if we know that we need to do things to build speaking in this narrow avenue of building our business, if we know that we need to talk to people and that makes us uncomfortable, we need to reach out, because we are the link or the bridge between the scientific community, the scientific advisory board, what we know to do, and what people should do. In fact, Kendra and I attend the Milken Conference every year in Beverly Hills, California. Some of the leading nutritional people, scientific people in the world are there, and they got up in front of everybody and they said, you know, the problem we have now is we have all the knowledge, we know what to do, but it still isn't happening. People aren't doing what's needed to be done. And that's because you don't have that link between knowing what to do and doing. That's us. We are the link that carries the message, and then one person at a time, we try to convince to take better care of their health. And that process, by the way, creates fear. I know I felt fear many times and still do today. But fear is not the answer. Just being fearful and not doing anything about it, it's doing what we need to do while being afraid. And that's what causes results. That's what causes the growth. That's what causes us, our goals and our dreams to be achieved. And so when it comes down to being comfortable versus comfortable, I would like to suggest that you're going to be uncomfortable whether you do it or not. There's no such thing as life without being uncomfortable. There's no such thing. And the reason is, if we choose to pay now, then we don't have to pay later. By that I mean, if we choose to do the things now that we are uncomfortable doing, then later we can choose when we want to be uncomfortable and when we want to be comfortable. We get to choose, because we pay the price now and we have control of our later years, okay? Or we can choose to be comfortable now. If we're comfortable now, we don't do the things we know we should do. We don't challenge ourselves. We don't set new goals. We don't follow our dreams. If we choose not to do that, then we're going to be uncomfortable later, and we have no choice. And we can't then choose comfort. The only way you can have comfort then is by blocking out reality. And people do that with alcohol. They do it with drugs. They do it by watching, television. They do it by watching sporting events and blocking it out of their mind because they cannot, anytime they're not distracting themselves with chemicals or something else, then they realize where they are and they're very miserable and uncomfortable. They take antidepressants. They take mood-altering chemicals that the doctors prescribe. I mean, you can't hide from it. You either pay now or pay later. And I will tell you that some of the most fun times of my life have happened during those times that I'm uncomfortable. When I look back on it, there's a joy by having achieved something, even though it was uncomfortable. And I can't imagine, how many hours of discomfort Liz has to be able to do, 100 pull-ups. I exaggerate a little bit, Liz. It's my nature. Now, back to the beginning remarks. We can change our life by changing our mind, and then following through and agreeing that we'll do whatever it takes to reach out and help somebody else live a healthier, happier, more prosperous life. Thank you for being here at this convention. Have a safe trip home. We'll see you tonight at the dinner. Good luck to all of you. God bless. Thank you.